So on that note of begging for help, I don't have enough time in a day, and I'm quickly realizing that because I'm getting back into regular training and I've still been experiencing a lot of insomnia, that I might actually start to suffer from sleep deprivation and overtraining. And I'm trying not to do that. I would like some more balance in my life, so I'm looking to delegate, and that's something really important. But there's something you can do to figure out if you're tired or experiencing sort of clinical exhaustion. So whether you're kind of being lazy or whether you are exhausted, and I was going to share some of those things with you now. Most common culprits with actual exhaustion are going to be lack of sleep and overtraining. Overtraining, you're going to know that you've overtrained if within 2 or 3 days of you doing a particular activity, you still feel sore. So sometimes if you never climb mountains and you go climb one once and it's a lot of work, you're going to feel crazy after it. But maybe you go and ride the bike every day, same hills, same routine, and you don't. There's a bit of overtraining there. But imagine if you climbed that hill, that mountain every other day. If you're really putting yourself out there, you could push yourself into exhaustion. And that's going to be super true and super ouchy, even if you're not training at a really high athletic level. If you're a noob or you're just getting back into it, you can deplete yourself by just getting back into a good, healthy lifestyle. You want to watch out for a higher resting heart rate than is normal for you, muscle aches, like I said, that don't go away in 2 or 3 days, headaches, and then maybe even decreased appetite. And then if you have any of those signs, you probably want to take a day off for rest and recovery. But that's actually not the most common cause of exhaustion. The most common cause of exhaustion has to do with not getting enough sleep, proper sleep. And here's how you can tell that you haven't. If you are experiencing stress, if you have adrenal fatigue, thyroid problems, hormone problems, you could be becoming exhausted through no fault of your own. And those problems lead to us not being able to sleep, lead to like a level of insomnia. So what do we do? How do we tell? How do we know? You want to go speak to somebody, preferably an endocrinologist, to talk about what's been happening in your life, to look more deeply at your blood work, at your nutrition, and figure out what's going on with you. Now, you can start off without visiting your PCP and getting recommended to an endocrinologist. You can work with a nutritionist like me or somebody that specializes in hormone health or just basic nutrition and lifestyle help. But if those things don't work, if the things I recommend to you don't work within 30, 60, 90 days, it's time to take things way more seriously. So that doesn't mean when you hit that regular 2 or 3 o'clock wall, which everybody does, it's part of how our natural circadian rhythms work. That's not something you necessarily have to worry about. But getting a good night's sleep could be pushing you harder at that 2 or 3 o'clock wall than what you should be feeling. The least favorite thing that I always have to say, and everybody hates, is overuse of stimulants. Coffee. I know I used to drink a lot more coffee than I do now, and I drink 1 cup a day in the morning, sometimes not even that. But also skipping meals or just lack of nutrition can also put everything out of whack, including your ability to sleep. That's the part 1. That's the love I have for you for legitimate exhaustion and when you should see a doctor or make some lifestyle changes. But this next one I want to talk about is kind of signs of boredom or laziness that might be getting misinterpreted as exhaustion. So again, we're not talking about the mental exhaustion that can come from a hard day at work where you get ground down to nothing and you just feel like dirt. If you have a lot of stress at work, anxiety, that can affect your sleep at night. That is very legitimate. So don't let that one go. I wanted to make that side note. Work stress, mental exhaustion, that's absolutely a thing. It's not just about, did you stay up too late? Did you go work out too hard? Don't forget. So a really quick cheat to see if you're exhausted or just feeling unmotivated or lazy or bored is to ask yourself, if I could go to a really cool show right now or a movie or climb a mountain or be traveling or something, would I just be totally up for that? Because if the answer is yes, then you might just be bored with your life, bored with the current situation, and that's not necessarily exhaustion. But at the same time, if you ask yourself that question and you just don't have the gonads to get up and do anything, you're probably physically tired. We want to do something about this, right? If we're having trouble keeping up with our commitments, we want to be able to put in just a little bit of effort. And so my tip to you today is make a minimum commitment to that. Make a 10 to 15 minute commitment to that. If that means putting on your gym clothes and just walking around the block twice, do it. If that means just ordering out a salad with a healthy side or something instead of going out for that crappy food or eating something crappy in your fridge, it takes an extra 5-minute diversion, do it. Put that 5 or 10 minutes into it. Same with meal prep. If you're feeling like you can't commit to things, give yourself a 10 to 15 minute rule, okay? Try it that way. The other thing that you're going to want to do, especially at work if you're hitting that 2 or 3 o'clock wall, is to remove the inertia, remove it completely. If you feel your eyelids drooping, get up and walk around. Change the scenery, stand up, stretch, do whatever it is that you need to do, but change the situation. Remove that inertia. If you find yourself spending 8 hours in bed and you're still exhausted, problems. You might be oversleeping. Set an alarm and get up. When you set up an alarm in the morning and you get up immediately, you don't get on your phone, maybe get up, start stretching, do some yoga or something like that, it increases your level of activity, which decreases your body's automatic response to continue with that inertia in the land of inactivity. Get up in the morning, do some movement, have some water, have a light meal, and then make sure in the evening you're eating light meals. When I talk to my clients, I always try to prescribe the lightest meal of the day at the end of the day so that you're reducing all of your sugar intake, your consumption of oily foods, and all those things that your body cannot process well while it's trying to sleep and heal. So I'm going to rattle off to you my checklist, and you're going to run through it mentally right now to make sure that before you see a doctor, you're evaluating the root cause of your tiredness. So here we go. Are you getting enough sleep? Recommended is 7 to 9 hours for an adult human. Are you getting enough sleep? How's your diet? Are you eating a lot of processed foods? Are you eating a lot of sugar? Are you eating a lot of oil? Are you drinking too much coffee? Exercise. Are you doing it? Are you doing it? Because most people can't or don't, and that is going to lead to feelings of lethargy. It's just the way it is. So an object in motion stays in motion. Stress, you got to evaluate that. Do you have a job or people or things going on in your life that require you to have more self-care than you're giving yourself to cope? Do you need to eject those people from your life? I vote for the latter. Self-care takes up time, and a lot of time that people don't think that they have. And sometimes the amount of self-care you have to give yourself in order to cope with some really shitty people and situations will never be enough for you to successfully navigate your course in health and happiness. Think about that one. So, in the game of life, make sure you don your oxygen mask first before you help anybody else out, because that's going to be your most important key to survival. Your mask first.